back up over your head. Cross.
Hi guys, Jessica here with another Down Dog update interview. Today I am here with Pascal, owner of the Electric Soul Yoga Studio in California. He has a master's in clinical psychology and marriage and family planning, and he is a touring yoga teacher as well as many other various things that he is doing. He taught stress classes for the Chrysler company and on, but I won't continue talking. Thank you so much, Eric, for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. We really want to hear from you and learn a little bit more about what you're doing. We're actually right now at the Yoga Journal Live event in New York City.
Yeah,
and
great place to be.
It is your not first year here, I assume.
No, actually, this is my 5th year here, and I really wanted to come to this conference that first year, and I was trying to figure out how to crack into this, and I had heard that the director of the conference loved show tunes. So I wrote a description of a show tunes yoga class, along with many other classes, like the deepest classes you can think about.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, like the show tunes class was a joke. I get a phone call from Yoga Journal. We'd love you to come and teach yoga show tunes. It sounds so cool. I'm like, are you serious? And they're like, yes. So then I had to figure out, how the heck am I going to teach a show tunes yoga class? And let me tell you, it was a one-time performance. I'll never do it again. But I was a mixture between Mary Poppins and the Phantom of the Opera, just to give you an idea. That was one heck of a class.
That's exciting. I'm sure the people that attended it remember it.
Oh my God. I'll never forget it, that's for sure.
That's very cool. And this year you are doing a few different classes, and one of them called Love Bullets, and you focus on helping people with relationships and talking about that in your yoga classes. So can you tell us a little bit more about that class, or like what you do with the classes?
This particular conference, and it's been interesting, I was asked to kind of shift gears a little bit more and do, which was great, and do something a little more meaningful than like some exciting asana classes.
Yeah.
So I came up with a couple classes that I think have terrified most people. One is called Love Bullets.
Okay.
And the very premise of the class is to take the time in the classroom to open ourselves up to hearing things about ourselves that we don't necessarily want to hear. And hearing ourselves say them. So it's not a class where it's like, hey, you look like you need to get your shit together. It's a class where I start asking some questions and create dialogue in which you're asked to sit down and think about who you really are and what's going on with your life. And then I partner people up to be your mirror, to say things to you so you can feel how they sound and if you can own them. Because often in life, people say things to us that are quote-unquote hurtful, but they can be very helpful. And if we're stuck on the hurt, we never get the help.
Right.
So that's the Love Bullets. And then I'm having a relationship workshop, which is essentially going over 4 very fundamental principles that I have whittled down from hundreds on how to perfectly relate to every human being on the face of the earth. I know, sounds huge.
That is
4
huge.
principles.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, when you hear these principles, you'll walk out of the class with your head down, basically saying, I'm giving up for right now until I pull my you-know-what together. Because it's very, very humbling when we really take a look at what it takes to have a healthy relationship based upon us being developed as human beings.
Yeah.
And when we walk away, there's no shame about it, but the bar is set real high because in order to function with someone else, it has to be. I mean, we're losing jobs and losing relationships and friendships over normal things in life. Normal things are just blowing us away.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity to take those principles, go home and work on them for a while, and then deliver them into the relationships that you're currently having.
That's wonderful. And you have such great teachings for people, and on your website you even have a blog that's really insightful and some recipes. And under your training session there's a new program called G.U.I.D.E. It's an acronym.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, G.U.I.D.E. is about gathering information, understanding that information. By the way, this is all like Jnana Yoga. Gather information, understand the information. From that, you set an ideal. An ideal is something, it's a vision above your own selfish, self-centered goals. So it's something bigger, not just to help you, but anyone. Once you have the ideal, you take some time to discern, basically meaning all the information you've gathered and understood and the ideal. And once you understand what to do and not to do, you execute. And that's the GUIDE program. And so what I do is I take my counseling skills and my marriage, family, child skills, therapy skills, I put them together under this acronym, and we systematically go through life, your life, and figure out what information do you need to gather, how do you need to understand that, what your ideals are, how to discern and decipher between everything, and then we get you executing, which really means living it.
Yeah.
And that's a really powerful thing for people. I mean, we're in a world where most people know how to talk the talk. We're smart people. But walking the walk is a whole different story.
Yeah,
and that's what this program is really about.
Yeah, it takes from the theoretical to the practical and the things that you can apply to everyday life to really change your life instead of just talking about it and thinking about it all the time. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. And if people want to explore that, is it like a group training or is it one-on-ones?
It can be. What generally happens is you call, email, call me. I get back to you. I do an assessment. So I just spend time on the phone. It doesn't cost you anything to figure out what's going on and what you're really asking for.
Yeah.
And from that, I kind of map out a short-term plan of what I'm seeing. And if that sounds good to you, then we engage and we kind of set an understanding of the amount of time we'll need to get somewhere, even though that can shift and turn, and we're set to go. The second part is often couples, families, and even friends, even studios have called me.
Yeah.
We need help with our teachers. We need help with this.
Yeah.
And then it is a group thing. Or part of the GUIDE program is you might be lacking in your social life or wanting friends.
Yeah.
And so the other people I'm working with, I'll say, you know what? I know so-and-so and I think they'd be great. And I actually play matchmaker and then put the group together, and then we work together as a whole.
Okay.
So that's how it goes.
That's interesting, and it sounds like very valuable, hands-on kind of things that people can. And the interesting one was even the yoga studios, because we are doing a physical practice, but at the same time, we all still are living, life and dealing with the challenges of relationship building and getting along with your fellow colleagues and classmates and all this kind of stuff that we all have to go through. I
mean, going into class it's a healthy stress reliever, but I always say it's not a stress solver. You get an hour, you get an hour and a half, and you're mad. You feel great, but it's not the ultimate place to learn. It's the seed that you need to fertilize outside the room, and that's why I decided to go back into some of the counseling things I'm doing, because I sit as a teacher and I watch a revolving door. People come, people go, people come, people go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like, my God, I know what they're going back out into without being fully equipped to handle it. Just because you took it's like drinking a glass of wine. You feel better, but the effects wear off and you're the same person. Taking a yoga class is much the same thing. Except it's healthier and it introduces you to something bigger. And I feel it's our responsibility as yoga teachers and yoga studio owners to provide that bigger piece. It will not be your biggest piece of business because only very few people want that bigger piece. But it's how I kind of rationalize the business of flooding a yoga studio with human beings just to keep the doors open. I'm in it because I want to connect with people. It saves my life. I do this purely selfishly because without it, I'm a dead man. I truly am. So if I'm not having the conversations I'm having, like with GUIDE, or even with you in a meaningful interview, I'm no good.
Yeah, and sharing that information is so valuable. When I was listening to you talk, I was thinking about how many of us have taken classes with you, and it's very lively and fun and engaging and energetic, and really is very helpful in that way. But at the same time, there's also a part of you that can help us in these other ways, like with the G.U.I.D.E program, that we can engage more deeply and help us on a deeper level, even like to continue to grow and all that. Because as people who practice yoga, I feel like a lot of us are very interested in growing and self-improvement and all those kind of things, healthy lifestyle, not just physically, but in every aspect of our life.
Right.
So that is a wonderful thing that you're creating. And
Thanks.
if people want to come to your classes, you're touring, so I'm sure on your website, I'll link your website, so that way people can check you out and see where you're touring and reach out to you if they're interested in the G.U.I.D.E program to take it to another level. And thank you so much for joining me on this interview. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for listening. It's an honor to be in your presence and in yours.
Thank you very much.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste. Until next time.
Dog is the inhale. Exhale is the down dog. Right foot to the sky. Every single thing you do.